Okay. It was not on my little list today. I have a list. I'm a I'm a person who makes lists. I go down my little list and scratch off my accomplishments. Then I feel good when I slack off for the rest of the day. I get stuff done. It could also be about this much of reverse psychology working in my favor. But you know what? It was not on my list today to come and make a couple of days ago about the nature walk that I went on to the monastery. I go on walks a lot. I try to. I like being in touch with nature. Thank God. I have a yard and I have a garden and my dogs and the hummingbirds and just the rabbits and probably a lot of things that I've shown you on my videos that are very comforting to have around. But also when I want to get out there and see big trees and other woods and be near lakes and, take in different sounds and vibrations. I love my walks. But then, I get back from my walk, the week starts, and I get this letter. I'm not showing it to you. These are actually notes. Just brief highlights to jog my memory about some things that came up after I got this letter. It was a cancellation for a life insurance policy that I've had for a long time. And that's not the worst part of it, actually, because I paid them. And I paid them before the lapse date. The worst part that, I want to talk about is how through and when I say our, I mean people collectively. I'm talking about the USA, but this could be in other countries as well. How we allow corporations to literally rob us. And we pay for it. We pay for our own robbery. Oh, do you like my shirt, by the way, guys? I got this from a thrift store. I forget who made it. But look, when I got it, I couldn't tell. I was asking my kids if this person was getting beamed up or if they were getting dropped off. And I wasn't sure, from the little alien show. At this point, I feel like I'd actually rather be taken up than deposited here. People. So the letter said that they were going to terminate my life insurance policy that I've had for years, longer than some people are alive, because of lack of payment. And I said, well, this can't be true because I paid it. And I have proof. I have the confirmation number. And I went to the bank and saw that they took the money out. And they got paid, So the awful part of it is not even the potential termination. But generally speaking, most companies work like this. So I called the company up. No, I wrote an email first. I got up early this morning. It was the first thing on my mind. In my mind, I'm like, who the hell? I'm so tired of these people. You do right. You pay your premiums for years. And then maybe it's because I'm old now. They just turn you off with no notice. But I sent an email to the email address that was on the last bill for customer care service. I said, I got to get this in writing. I really have to get this in writing. So I emailed them a letter. That's basically the gist is, I paid on time. Why are you canceling me? What's wrong with you people? Remedy the situation, quickly. And I'll put it this way: I'm a lot nicer than debt collectors that you owe $10 to. I'm nicer than the dude that you owe money to. So I get the message back, the email that I sent, with some sort of, routing issues, some hosting issues, something like that. I said, oh, here we go. Here we go. This email worked before, during the pandemic. The checks have always gone through. The money's there. You cashed it. What's going on? So then I get on the phone, and they ask me, what product do you have? I tell them what's going on, and they put me on hold with, the music. The music. Oh, gosh. It's not even like Tchaikovsky or Satie or anything like that. It's just some music that's going to drive you absolutely crazy. But I guess it's supposed to induce a calmness while you are basically on fire, And so, this guy comes back and he's like, oh, well, I can't get into your account. Which, it's funny, because they can get into my account to take out my money, and pay themselves through these premiums. So then they transfer me over to somebody else who's supposed to help me, who's in a different department that has more access. So then I sit on the phone a little bit longer, listening to more mind-numbing music. And then she finally comes back. And then she says that she has to leave again. And then it's the clickety, 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 just clicking, clicking, clicking. Like I'm in one of those comedic movies right before the person goes insane. But I'm keeping my composure. I am. I don't want to be accused of going insane. Being the 5 o'clock news special. So she comes back and then she says, after several minutes, I'm sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a special billing department, person call you back because this requires a specialist. I said to her, what's so special about this case? The date is this. You got the money a day earlier. The bank shows you got the money. What's so special about this? Well, I just can't get in there and help you, she says. And somebody else needs to get in there and help you, and it will take 2 to 5 days. Oh, gosh. And it's always the same thing. It's always the same thing. You do the right thing, they do the wrong thing. And, it's this circle of robbery that continues until you die. Or until, of course, yes, you don't want anything or don't buy anything that needs coverage, or you don't want to leave anything to your children. And, before people come on here and say, oh, well, you could do it this way and you could do it that way. Please, okay? If you want to leave a home to your children, at least in this country, there are taxes. There's homeowner insurance. There is responsibilities that you have to take care of. There are lawsuits that happen sometimes, and it's always this joke going on with these corporations that if you just pay them on time, they will do right by you. And I'm here to tell you, they won't. They won't. I'd like to know, I'd like to have or see the unpaid testimony of these people that they do right by versus how many people they have driven into an early grave or poverty. That's just one example. It just made me think. All that made me think of the movies. There was a movie that came out a long time ago. It was called Assault on Precinct 13. I think one version is in the 70s, which I didn't see. But the next one was, I don't know. I'm going to say it was in the mid-2000s or early 2000s. It's with Lawrence Fishburne, Gabrielle Byrne. I love him. And I love Lawrence Fishburne, too. Ethan Hawke, Maria Bello, I think. And I don't remember who else. Oh, John Leguizamo. I love John Leguizamo. He's funny as hell. And I don't know if you've seen the movie or not. Spoiler alert. The cops are bad. I don't know if this is a new thing for you all, but the cops are bad in this movie, okay? They're very, very corrupt. And they claim that they're going to go into the jail and go, transfer Lawrence Fishburne's character, who is also corrupt. But before they do that, before they go in and get them, of course there are police officers that are in the inside trying to watch the jail and protect all the inmates in there, whether they believe or not that they are criminals or not, which is supposedly the law. But these crooked cops on the outside are going to go storm them and go get Lawrence Fishburne's character. And right before they go storm inside, Gabrielle Byrne's character gives them, I think he's like the chief or something of the police. He asks them a question. He gives them a speech and asks them a question. And he said, hey, we're going to go in here and we are going to kill some people, basically. I'm paraphrasing. We're going to kill some people, and some of them might be people that you know, and people that are innocent. But we have to do this to go get that guy. And can you live with that? And then at that point, the ones that can live with that, which they don't really have a choice because they've become corrupt with Gabrielle Byrne's character. They go, yes, we can. We can live with ruining people's lives and killing other people. That movie and those lines always remind me of the corruption that I face constantly in just trying to live a quiet life. And I know I'm not alone. I just know that people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to talk about it at all. It's just like this auto injury case that is going on in my life right now. It's almost at its end. 5 years. 5 years of nonsense. Where one person does nothing wrong. They have health insurance. They have paid for their auto insurance coverage that's mandated. And this is where it gets sticky. This is where we we allow our own robbery. We have to follow the law. The law says you have to have auto insurance coverage because if you get into an accident, what if you hurt somebody? Your insurance will cover it. What if you hurt yourself? Your insurance is supposed to cover it, surely. You give people hundreds of dollars a month to cover more than one car, right? No, that's not how that story goes usually. What actually happens is, and I'm speaking generally, I understand that this is not maybe the pattern for people that don't run into corrupt lawyers, corrupt judicial system, corrupt hospitals, corrupt chiropractors. Just, if you don't run into those, consider yourself extremely lucky or blessed, whatever you want to select. I find that is not the case in my life. But anyway, the general format is you do the right thing. You do the right thing. You pay your premiums for years. Maybe you paid your premiums for 2 decades. On time. And then an accident happens. It's not your fault. They cite the other person. The other person doesn't contest that it was their fault. But then the insurance company steps in. The other person's and yours. And then there's a problem. Because you go to the hospital and you were there for 1 hour. Maybe more. But you got charged an obscene amount of money. Money that makes no sense for what they did. I mean, we can basically say they gave you an ice pack. They checked your neck. They checked your back. You were bleeding. You got some Band-Aids. And, they wanted to charge you a year's worth of income. All right? Then you think, oh, well, the person who got cited, of course they're going to pay. But then it turns out that they elected to have as little insurance as possible. So then you think, hey, well, I did good. I bought enough insurance to cover whatever they can't cover. And then you find out your own insurance company, after 2 decades, will work with the other person's attorney, the defendants, the person that hit you and almost killed you and took your livelihood away and smushed your car into a can of tuna. And left you literally bleeding and having to be pried out of a car. Your own insurance company will side with the person that did that to you and their company to try to diminish your claim, make it look like, you hit yourself on purpose, that you caused your own demise. Then it reminds me of another movie. At this point, after all this is being drawn out, after judicial systems allow leaves of absences for years because one lawyer's pregnant. This other lawyer's doing this. This lawyer, they're all working together. You realize, oh, hey, I might get some help. Then you realize from the lawyer that you hired, that you thought you could trust, that the hospitals love to put liens on the bills, on the inflated bills that they make up. So they can take every penny that you have. Even if now, you have a crappy car because they didn't cover your car. They gave you just enough money to buy a clunker and not even really replace, not make you whole for the car that you had before. Um, and they've left you worse off. They have not made you whole. And you have a lien against any future payout. And based on inflated bills that could have been diminished if your own lawyer would have helped you, you know? It reminds me of the second movie that I thought of as I was going through these things recently. It is, I love martial arts movies. I like the Ip Man series. Not all of them. I mean, we were pushing it with the Mike Tyson one. I get it. Mike Tyson, if you're listening, which you're not. Um, I probably would have jumped at the chance to be in a movie with Donnie Yen also. And I'm not a martial artist. But man, I mean, the plot line to fit you into that movie was just too much. I like Ip Man 1 and Ip Man 2. I understand many people might not like those movies because they look at them as a propagandist. Um, I don't necessarily agree with that without looking globally at all the movies that have been made. A lot of the movies deal in the Ip Man series with the British occupation of Hong Kong. And so I'm sure a lot of people would anyway. Like that. In the second movie, one of my favorite martial artists is Sammo Hung. I don't know why I always liked him. He just seemed like such a dignified fighter. But I remember in that movie, and it's quite the opposite of Assault on Precinct 13 with the crooked cops asking other crooked cops if they can live with the things they've done. In this movie, there is a part where I forget who the fighter was. I don't know if they call him Twister. One of the British guys that comes over and they're trying to mock the Chinese fighters and trying to, poke their chest out and be all nationalistic, you know, and say that their style of fighting is better than, you know, Chinese martial arts. Anyway, I think in the movie, Donnie Yen says to Sammo's character, I forget what his character's name is, don't get back in the ring. Because he knows that Sammo is sick. And he knows that even though he's probably the greatest fighter, because earlier in the movie, you know, they both sparred respectfully. And they were toe to toe. But at that point, Sammo gets back in the ring because he says, I can't live knowing that they disrespected me and us like that. And I remember that line. It always sticks out for me. Because that's how I feel. These people that keep using the law to rob other people every day and get away with it. The hospital. Why on earth would you give somebody an ice pack and then write it up as, a $900 expense and then put a lien on a claim for a $900 ice pack. Why would you cut somebody's life insurance off that they've been paying on for years when you know you got the money? And the postmark on the envelope is after the check has been cashed. Why would you work in the judicial system and see constant leaves of absences and think, wow, this justice is moving right along? It got worse during the pandemic. I know you guys know that because I am telling you, they were using the pandemic, these corporations, they were using the pandemic to cut jobs, do the minimal amount of work possible. Not because they had a skeleton crew, but because they wanted to maximize their earnings. Profits don't lie. All you have to do is look at companies and see what they earned when other people were suffering. All you have to do is open your bills and say, how long have I been paying this company? Oh, X amount of years. How fast did they turn me off? Oh, one day. You call them out, and the emails don't work, the phones keep ringing, the people can't be found. It reminds me of this book. I'm reading this book. Oh gosh, I wish I had it here. It's called Doublespeak. I think it was written in the early 90s. And it's all about, the Orwellian language that we use to baffle people. So we can continue with the manipulations in our everyday life. And I guess go to bed at night feeling okay. It's an interesting book. I'll have to write the author's name. The language in it is so funny. I mean, I've heard a lot of them. It was just funny today that when I was speaking to this woman and she asked me what product I bought and that she couldn't help me because she needed, and then she put the strand of adjectives together to form some sort of title that was supposed to be so special to me. I was like, lady, please. I'm trying to be nice to you, but you are about to see a new side of me. And it's not the calm side that takes walks in the parks. Oh gosh, I guess this will have to be continued. And there is no point to this video other than I guess it was a story time. But to tell you, stand up for yourself. We need to start passing some new laws that don't let people keep our premiums in their pocket. And then when an accident actually happens, or something happens to our house, or somebody dies, or anything. Sorry, I have something in my eye. If something happens to us, that they're not held accountable for their end of the contract. That's what we're talking about. While we have to be law-abiding citizens. If the law says you have to have auto insurance, and then this person can collect it from you, but you can pick whoever you want. But all of them across the board come up with all kinds of intricate ways to screw you over. Then the law is allowing that, and you're signing up for it. It's so crazy that people don't get together, and that there are so many individuals out there And I have to say this, a lot of poor people, they just get it the worst. Because they studied. They studied who lives in what demographic, how much money you earn, how much you drive, where you're going, where you're not going, what you spend your money on, all kinds of stuff. To see if this is the person that they can screw over. You don't hear of these stories when celebrities are getting robbed and of their jewels. The jewels are found. The dog is found. They get their new house built up really fast. Not like these Hurricane Katrina people, right? They had to move to a different state because their house was never going to get built again, even if they had insurance. I mean, let's be real. There's so much damage that these people do. Regular people need to get together and change the law. For individuals to have to fight on their own. Those people will have you up and forever.